Welcome. So I'm trying to get a better angle on what I'm doing. So hopefully this works a little bit better, but I've got this fairy house that I want to put together and paint. And then I also have my gnome door that I want to get painted. So I figured I would do a live. I know it's a little bit earlier than I normally do, but I'm like, late is better, early is better than never, right, guys? So I do have my little piece of cardboard here that I'm just going to try to straighten out, because this is going to be my little swing piece. So I'm just going to cut little slits on each side so that I can put my rope in there. Hey, Terry. Yes, that was so cool. Those of you that didn't watch today, I was on Andy's Custom Carving and Epoxy UK channel, where he kind of like interviewed me or whatever. And I was really nervous, but it went really, really good. Hello, Eileen. Welcome, guys. So I figured I would just, because I did touch on a little bit of the Powertex, and I have these pieces that I need to finish before Friday. So I figured I would come live tonight. I'm going to leave my painting upstairs until tomorrow. So let me first move some of this out of my way so that I can get a better view for you guys. So what this is just a piece of styrofoam on the bottom. And then I covered it with tape. This is just tin foil that I kind of made a shape, and I made like a little chimney here. We're going to put the swing over here. And I did this last night because it works better when you have the bottom already dry when you're trying to put the pieces together, because I've only done a few. I'm still new to the Powertex, but I've learned that if you can get your, like the bottom of your roof and the bottom of your base dry before you put it together, it makes it easier, because then you can move it around. So these are all dried, and we're going to put them together in a little bit, but I'm going to finish putting the material on this. We're going to attach the swing, and then I'm going to set this aside so it can kind of like air dry a little bit, and then we will start painting our door, because that's completely dry. And then we will assemble these three items, the top, the house, and the base, and get those decorated and colored. So, yeah, that is the plan for tonight. So I'm just using old pillowcase material. That's kind of what I'm using to coat this. So this is the Powertex. It is, all right, where is my bottle? Right here, which I'll show you this label because you can see it. So this is the Easy Gloss. This is what we're going to use for coloring it. But Powertex is the name, and I do have a discount code in the description below, or it will be. If it's not, I will put it there. So I'm just going to pour some of this in. Now this stuff will work on anything except plastic. So any natural material it will work on. And this is the newer formula. So this one is waterproof. The older formulas are water resistant, which means they can be outside, but you can't like pour water in them. So that is the difference. And this is what happens if you put it on plastic. It literally will just peel off. So I have seen some videos of people doing it on plastic, and I will do a video down the road to show you how to get around this problem. But for tonight, we're just going to finish these up. And this is just like a black, and they have 10 colors. I use the black and the bronze the most. This is non-toxic, so kids can use it, but it's extremely messy and extremely sticky. So when I'm putting it on, I wear gloves. And then once I get it where I want it, then I just take the gloves off, fix any little pieces that I need to. Yeah. So we're just going to put some gloves on. And like I said, this stuff is messy, but it is so much fun. So you can make anything. If you can make a shape out of tin foil, you can make a piece. It's really, really cool. All right, so I do have some different size pieces of pillowcase cut up, and you just dip it in your liquid here. You want to make sure that your piece is completely coated. Like, you wouldn't want to leave those little light pieces. You want it completely coated, but not dripping, because it's going to take longer to dry. So you get some on, and then you kind of just spread that out. And then you just start like wrapping it. So I know I need some on this area here. And you can, you can wrinkle it, you can scrunch it, whatever shape you want, you can make it. So where this is the roof, I want, I want a little bit of texture. So I am going to wrap this one around the bottom a little bit. And then I'm just going to lay this down with these wrinkles in it. And I'm just going to, let's see, I'll take this smaller piece to do this next, because I did come down last night and try and get, the bulk of the bottom all done so that I could get this finished. Now, I haven't even posted these on my Facebook page because I usually end up selling them before I can even get a couple made. So I'm like kind of trying to get a couple made before I post them for sale. All right, so now I want to go up and around on this part because you can still see there's the blue tape. So I'm just going to take a longer piece, dip it in, and I start with a little bit in my bowl at a time. Just, I'd rather keep adding than to have too much and have to try to pour it back in the bottle. You can definitely pour it back if you get too much, out that you're not using. But I try to use what's in my container at a time. And again, I'm just trying to make sure that I have all that material kind of coated. So this is actually a textile hardener. It's not just a stiffener, it's a hardener. So it takes about, depending on how thick you put your Powertex on your material, it takes about 2 weeks for it to be like completely cured all the way through. So I usually tell people to wait 2 weeks before they hang it outside But with these, it will be a little bit sooner just because I had these made much, much earlier. So I'm just going to lay that on there, and I'm going to kind of wrap this around, making creases where I feel it needs a crease. So this is like just a total, whatever you, however you want to lay it. You know what I mean? There's not like a certain right way to do it, wrong way. So I kind of wrapped it like around this so that it gives me that extra structure when it dries to hold my chimney in place. And I know I have some smaller pieces. Okay. And if you leave a lot of product around your cap, it will harden to your cap. So when you're done, try and make sure that, and there's a big clump in there. All right, so we definitely got way more than we need now. So, and those clumps are okay. You just gotta break them up a little bit. And I think that's just because I poured it from a big 5-quart container. So, yeah, it was really hard to get it mixed in that. So this one here, I've got quite a bit of Powertex on this. So I'm going to take another piece. Let me see if I can find a smaller piece, and I'm just going to rub it into this other piece so that we don't have so much on this one piece. See how that coated that second one, and then I'll finish rubbing that in. But I want to get my chimney coated here. So I have made 2 sculptures, and this is my 4th fairy house that I've made. And each one comes out somewhat different. They're not all the same. Now I'll just finish squishing this into this piece. And we'll finish our little roof piece. I keep wanting to call it a hat because it kind of looks like, I guess, the Harry Potter hat, but it's the roof. And if I got little strings, I just kind of put them up. So now our little roof is completely coated with the Powertex. And I will grab some embellishments to put on here. Let me see. I'm going to add another little piece down here at the bottom. So I guess this has been around. This originated in Belgium. So it's been around in Europe for a long time, but it's just now really kind of hitting the US. And I am absolutely loving this. All right, so we're just gonna kind of fold this Get some wrinkles and crinkles. So if you like doing projects that you want texture, this is phenomenal because you can actually add this to a canvas. You can add it to glass, metal. And there are a bunch of other little pieces that you can add for texture as well. All right, so we've got that. Let me grab some burlap. So when you're doing it, have a bowl of like soapy water with an old rag, because when your hands start getting too sticky, you're not going to, it's going to want to stick to the piece you're trying to lay down. So it helps if you have like hot soapy water that you can kind of wash your gloves off a little bit with. So this is just like some burlap. So I'm just going to stick that in that Powertex, and we're going to just rub it around. And we're just going to add some areas that's going to have a little bit of texture on our roof. Now you can use a hairdryer to help get it touch dry. So you just want to be careful when you're using like the styrofoam underneath, because, you know, obviously styrofoam can melt. So you don't want to really heat it up a huge bunch, but you can air dry it, you know, hair dry it to like touch dry. All right, I'm going to take another little piece. Oh. And let's just kind of give it a wrap around here, just so we have like a different texture when we get ready to put our decorations on. I don't have any more. I've been making my leaves with the mix to mold, which is like a ceramic resin, but I used them all up on my door, which you'll see here in a bit, and on the house of this. So we've got this. I do have a few flowers left. And let me grab some stars. So usually on the hat, what I do is I've got these little wooden stars, and I put these on the roof part, and you just dip them into the Powertex, kind of wipe off the excess, and then we just find different spots that you want to put them, because once we color these, then they're going to come to life, that you'll see them. So right now we're just going to stick, and I have enough Powertex on my gloves right now to add quite a few. So this is also an adhesive, so it works like a glue. And if you guys have any questions, put them in the comments and I will try to get to them. And we'll put a couple small ones over here. Let's do a medium one. Let's see. And just make sure that all, you know, the edges and stuff are covered. And let's see. We'll put a nice big one down here. We'll put this other little one at the top. So we have a couple at the top. Now what I usually do is I will put a little bit of my glitter on the stars. And I just use my regular mica powder that I use with my resin. All right, let me rinse my hands. Okay, so I'm just gonna stick these back in my bag here. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to make molds of these with silicone so then I can cast them in the mix to mold. I'm going to try it. I don't know if it's going to work or not. All right, so we're going to let this dry. Now I do have a piece of plastic down on my desk that's sitting on. So I'm just going to move it onto my other table, and I'm going to move this over here for right at the moment because I want to start getting ready to adhere as I clean up my mess over here. I want to start adhering my base to the unit. So I'm just going to move this aside so we can kind of let this air dry for a few minutes. Only because my workspace is not very big. So this is my base, and I'm going to keep the flatter side down. And then this is my, what I call my house. So I have a flat spot right here, so I'm going to use that where my door is. So this can be my walkway. Now with Powertex, they have what they call Power Smooth and Stone Art. So you can make clay with both of these. This is the Stone Art, and this is the Power Smooth. But what it does is it makes like a thick paste. So let me grab a little stick, and we're going to take our medium and we're going to put it in a separate little cup. Once I get my big clumpies out of the way. And I'm going to make a fair amount because I have my bottom and my top that I'm going to need to basically glue down. So what I'm making is a thicker paste for so I can adhere this to, because this is a hollow cylinder. This is just cardboard on the inside. So I'm gonna get a clean stick, and I'm gonna put some of this Power Smooth into my mixture, and then I'm gonna stir it so that I can get it somewhat to a thicker consistency. See now how we have like a thick goop? And now I'm going to put some of the stone. When you mix these two together, you get a much stronger mix. See how this is more chunky? So that just kind of helps thicken it up a little bit more. And I'm going to put one other scoop, and that should be good. So there's no right or wrong as to your thickness. It's just what you're trying to do with it, basically. And I know I want it somewhat thick because I want to adhere this round piece to the flat piece. And I will show you how I do that. But yeah, see how now it's really, really thick. It's not moving. So I'm going to take this and I'm going to rub this along this outer edge. So it's like a thick, goopy mess. So then when it connects to the bottom, it's going to work as a glue. And when this hardens, this ain't going nowhere. Now you can see right here, I still have like a little bit of the blue showing. I'm just going to put some of this in there and finish filling that in. All right, now we have pretty much everywhere on that bottom. And I said I want my door where this little flatter spot is. So I'm just going to kind of hold this where I want it, and then we're going to just push down. Just like that. So you can see some oozed out, not that big of a deal. All right, so now we have our two pieces connected. And then I'll do the same thing for the top, but I want to get some of this decorated before I move to the top. We'll let that top have a little longer to set. So I'm just going to set this aside for a few minutes. And what am I going to... So I'm going to take the... hang on, let me grab it. So this is their transparent. So this goes on white and it dries clear. And this is just a bag of moss that I have had for years when I made flower arrangements. So I'm just going to pull some of this out. And I'm going to grab another little container. And we're just going to pour some of this transparent medium in. Now see, this cover is stuck. They sell an opener that is specifically for their tops so that you can get them off. This was the best investment that there was. All right, so we're going to put some of the transparent in, and we're going to start placing some of this moss around. So I'm just going to dip it in there. And I try to get some so it's everywhere, and then we're just going to place it around our piece where, you know, where we think we want some moss to be on our roof. I mean, on our base. And what I like about this is you can put your project together. You don't have to be precise with measuring, you know, or anything like that. It's just totally free to do whatever you want. It's really, really freeing. And I'm not going to go like everywhere around. I just want like certain areas. I mean, you could put the whole thing and have moss. But this is what I mean about having that bottom be dry. You can maneuver your project. Where if it was really wet, it would be sticking to the tray and just making a nightmare. And I've only learned that by trial and error. On my last one, oh my gosh, I struggled so much because that bottom was wet. Okay. So now we've got some areas of moss. Let me wash my fingers. And I'm going to put a little bit of this clear, even though I have some green in here. I am just going to do like my walkway because I'm going to put some stones down. So I want something for my stones to adhere to. You can put the stones right in the Powertex if you want. Sometimes I do. This time I'm doing it this way. And they do have two different size, well, three actually. They have the small, they have the large, and then they have a smaller one that's more like a sand. But I've been using the large and the medium, for my walkways. So I'm just going to sprinkle a few on here. And then we're going to just tap them down. And then I'm going to put some of the smaller ones to finish filling it in. So it'll just kind of give us that like uneven little walkway. And wherever that's white, it will dry clear. Yeah. And then if you want, you can put a little bit more over the top. Just to kind of make sure that, you know, they're in. Come on, get off my stick. All right, I've got to use my a clean glove here. Okay. And then we'll just let that dry a little bit. And anything that's loose will just kind of fall off. Not a big deal. All right, so now we can pick our cylinder up. So let me grab my top, and we're going to start getting our top on with the rest of our mixture here. All right, I'm going to set this here. So on this one, I'm going to do it the opposite. I'm going to put it on the top here. So I'm just going to make sure that there's a, you know, a good layer around this top piece. And you want it a little bit, you know, a little bit chunky on the top because you want that to really be able to grip. It's almost like a tar consistency, I would think. And I might have to mix up just a little bit more. I'm going to try and scrape as much as I can. All right, and I made it. Just made it. Okay. So what I do is I kind of put it so that I know my door is facing me. So this is my entrance. So then when I put my roof on, I can kind of see which way I want it to go. And I am thinking right there is good. I'm just gonna give that a good push down. So you can kind of see, I'm just pushing that down. So what I want to do is I want to add a little bit of moss to the roof because, you know, obviously if, you know, this is out in the woods, we would have, you know, a little bit of moss growing on the roof. Not a lot, but we would have some. So I'm just gonna pour some more transparent in there. And we'll just break up some of our moss, and it can be completely white. It doesn't matter because when it dries, it's going to be clear. So we're just gonna lay this, you know, in little areas that we, you know, we think there would be some moss growing. Doesn't have to be a lot. And you don't even have to put this step if you didn't want to. I mean, it's totally up to you. But I like to add the different little textures and stuff. Now, once I start adding the color, guys, this is where this is really, really going to start coming together. No, I don't want you rolling. I want you staying right there. And I'm going to put you over here. So that other Powertex is still tacky underneath, which is like also helping with this staying. You know, it's like an extra layer of the glue. And let's put a little something up between the chimney and the twist of the roof. And if you get a piece and it's not wanting to stick and your fingers are like goopy, use like a different tool that is not sticky, and that will help you to stick it without pulling it off. So you always want to have like something extra you can use when you're using this, because once your fingers get sticky, it's really hard. All right, all right, we need a little something, something over here. Okay, I'm gonna wash my hands. And let's get some rope and get our swing on. So this is gonna be my swing, and I'm gonna put this in the Powertex black. So that's gonna go in there, but I gotta get my rope cut. All right, let me start with this much. So, and when I do my swing, I like to have a knot under each side so that it, you know, kind of looks like a real, like swing. But I also need it to be wrapped around the top. All right, let me get a knot in one side, and then we'll start from there, because then we're going to put this in the Powertex. So right now I'm just kind of trying to figure out where I want my swing and how low I want it hanging. So that is going to go around like this, and then it's going to come down like that. So on this one, I think I'm going to go with a little bit longer swing than on the other one that I had showed today. So let's put a knot. Because I try to make each one a little bit different, you know, because everybody has different looks that they like. All right, and then that is going to be like that. So that is kind of how our swing is going to look. So I'm going to cut this tail off, because now I know that's, you know, where I want my swing. So I'm going to take my cardboard, I'm going to dip it in my black. You know, let me tip you down so you can see. Make sure I get all my edges so that it's completely coated. And where the corrugated is on the sides, I try to make it a little bit thicker in there. So there's my swing piece. Now we're going to dip the rope, and we're just going to get that coated. Kind of like that. All right, let me move you back up so you can kind of see where I'm. So I'm going to wrap this so that we have somewhat of an even area. I'm going to put the rope in the slits like that, and I'm just going to leave that to dry, just like that. So now we have our little swing. And let me cut this little tail off. All right. So we have our little swing. So what I'm going to do that I haven't done up until this point is I'm going to take another piece of rope and I'm going to put it, I'm going to Powertex this part. So I'm going to tie it in a knot around the top. So then I will have my hanger already built in. So I'm only going to try and Powertex this bottom part where I'm going to tie the knot. So I know that that knot will not come out once it dries. All right, now, all right, so I'm gonna put that through like that. And then that is going to be our little hanging rope. So I might even twist it. I just don't want the whole rope to be hard. I want that to be pliable. So like I said, I haven't done this before. I don't know if it's gonna work, but we will find out. All right. So that is all done. Let's see. I do have, I'm not going to add no flowers at the top. I do want to add a few more of these little gears to the bottom. Let me see. I'm just going to pull out a few. I don't want a ton, but I thought they would be kind of cute. I did add one on here. Let me see, so you can see where it is. Oh, see right down there? So I figured if I added one, why not add a few more? So I'm just going to dip the back in and I'm going to stick it on there. And if it's too heavy and it doesn't want to stay, I'll make up a little bit more of that powder stuff, which I'm going to have to. All right. So I'm going to just put, because I don't need a lot, I'm just going to put a little bit of the Power Smooth. I'm going to grab another stick. And we'll put that. So when you have anything heavy, this stuff works great as like a glue, like an anchor. All right. And I'm only going to add a few, so I don't need a bunch of it. Okay. And let's see. I guess I'll just do those three because I don't want to mix up a bunch. I want to get to the coloring of the pieces because that's going to show you guys the true look. Okay, so I'm going to move this out of my way and we're going to let that sit. And then I can keep adjusting my swing, you know, while it's drying because I'm right here. So let me take off my gloves. And we are going to start coloring our little house. So I can get rid of my transparent. I can move that aside. My Power Smooth, get that out of my way. And I'm going to take let me try to clear a spot here. So they do have different colorants. I've got 3 of them. I have got the dark brown, I've got the magic violet, which is like a metallic, and then I have the burgundy, which is their newest color. But I also use my mica powders. So for my door, I am going to use the brown. So it's basically a powder. It's just like mica powder. And I'm going to get my brush, and I'm going to get my Easy Varnish. And we're just going to pour a little bit into this container. And that's probably way more than I need. Oop. Wow, talk about dropsies. All right. So what you do is, like I cleared off a spot here. You dip your brush in the varnish and then dip it into the powder. And then you blend it. And we are going to cover our door with this color. Now, if you don't want a lot of color, you can wipe it off on a paper towel. I like more color in my pieces, so I don't. It's, to me, it's a total preference. So this is one of the reasons that I like the black Powertex, because it gives you that shadow already. Now, I'm not going to do my hinges because I want to do them in like a metallic, maybe a metallic bronze or something, just to make them look old. So right now, I'm just basically getting my background color in. So right now I'm just trying to get like in between to get that, so it looks like, kind of like a wood door. It's kind of that look that I'm trying to go for. You know, like an old door that's starting to fade, weathered. So doing the door, that's like the longest part because it's the most that needs to get colored. Now, I could have done this in the bronze Powertex, but I like the black. So that's kind of the way I go. And I'm going to do this window frame so you can see how that made that stand out a little bit more. Shoot, I forgot to grab a thing of water. Hang on. I just need a little plastic cup with some water to wash my brush. Oh, stuck to my shirt. All right, so I'm gonna wash that, dry it, and let me grab my so this is my bronze mica powder from Let's Resin. It's just the regular bronze. And we're gonna do the same thing. We're just gonna dip the end of the brush. We're gonna put it into the bronze, find a clean area, and then we're gonna do our door handle and our hardware. See how much that made that stand out? So I'm gonna do my little door knocker in the same. So I'm just dry brushing over the top so some of that black does show through rather. Yeah, okay, we got our hardware done. Put the cover on our mica powder. I'm gonna do the flowers in purple. So this is their metallic purple. So again, I'm just going to dip it in, find a clean spot, and just, you know, kind of keep getting it to the darkness that you want. And then I'm just going to, that's a little bit much, I'm just going to brush over my flowers. And I got one more over here. So now our flowers are standing out. I'm gonna wipe my brush. And we're gonna use, let me find a green that we can use. Let's use this bluish green from Let's Resin because it was right close. And we're going to get our leaves and greenery on. And it definitely works a little bit better if you have like a container where you can see where you're reaching. Oh, I forgot a flower. Oh, well, I'll go back and do that. So I'm just going to do, oh, I forgot another flower. And then I'm going to do some of the little greenery that I had around the flower, which is just different textures. Let's see. You know, and you can go over your items 2 or 3 times if you want. You know, it just depends on the depth of color that you want on there. Now these I made like they were stems. So we're gonna just touch the tops of them so they look like they're some sort of a vine. Okay, so I've got to go in and get a little bit more of the purple because I forgot 2 flowers, and I've still got some purple right here. So I'm just gonna use what I've got, and there. So now our door is coming to life. And what I like to do in the window is I would like to take a little bit of the yellow and orange and do the window so it looks like there's the lights on. So I'll just take a little bit of the and I'm just going to go into the window. So when I do the orange, I like to do the very bottom and the edges and the very top. So I leave this center for the yellow so that it gives it more of like a glow. And I'll stick it in. We'll stick in the yellow. And this stuff dries fairly quick, so it doesn't take long, and you can start going over where you had other, you know, other colors. And there we have our little window. So our little door is pretty much done as far as color. Now, sometimes I will take the bronze and I will just highlight some of the high points on the piece. So what I'll do is I will just kind of go over the high points. Just a little bit here and there, and to me it just kind of helps make it stand out a little bit more. You know, it's all what you kind of prefer. And I will do the rope a little bit here, just so the rope kind of matches and stands out just a little bit. Yeah. So now our door is all done. So I'm going to set that aside, and we're going to start doing our little house here. So, so that's still a little bit wet, but we can blow dry that when we get to it. So I want to do the bottom, and let me grab a different green. So I'm just going to start with a darker green. And I'm going to get a little bit of texture going on the bottom. You know, just kind of giving it so it looks like, you know, it's some sort of ground something. And then I am going to go in and get the leaves. So you can, you know, start with your backdrop. You can, you know, I do each one a little different. It just depends what color I'm looking for first, I guess. So I definitely want to get like the little rope that I put that looks like vines. Get our leaves. And you know, you can mix your greens. You can use 2 different colors. It's totally what you're feeling like. Like, I will probably go over the leaves with another lighter green after. All right, so I think I have got all of my leaves done. Yeah, okay. And let me grab, can I grab a pink? Do I have a pink? All right. Let's do this peach mica powder. I don't even know if I've ever used it. No, I haven't. There we go. And we will stick that in there. And I'm going to use this color for the flowers on this piece. Because I think I've done a couple with the purple, so I need to change it up. So the pink is definitely a little bit lighter. So I'm just going over with a second coat. Okay. So like you can see, you're not using a ton of project unless you know, drop it like I just did. Let's go back in with a little bit lighter green, and we will kind of highlight just the leaves. Just so there's a difference in the colors. So I'm just lightly going over the top. So they just stand out a little bit more. And this green is a little bit sparkly. Okay. Now we can go in, let's see. I'm gonna put this strip, I think I'm gonna put this strip in purple, just to add a little extra color. I don't know. If I don't like it, I will just kind of paint over it. And these are just pieces of glass rocks. So that's all that is. So basically when you're painting, you're doing more of like a dry brush. And because it's a black background, you don't have to worry about your colors being too like bold in your face, because as they dry, they do darken up a little bit. So I'm just gonna like follow wherever I put that one piece of material. I'm just gonna kind of follow that through. I don't know, I just figured it would give a little something different to the piece. All right. So and fix my swing. So I'm gonna do the bronze first, seeing as how it's already out, and we're gonna use that to color the house. The bulk of the house. And then what I'll do is I'll do the brown on the windows and the door. And that way there I can use up some of this bronze that I spilled everywhere. So yeah, so each one of my, even if I try to make them the same, they end up coming out totally different. You know, it depends on the way the material lays, how you wrap it. Yeah, so they're fun because you don't know what your final look is going to be. But these have been so popular. And I'm not, you know, you can see I'm not being like super particular. You don't have to be. It's just, you know, you're basically putting some color just to bring out that backdrop, basically. So I'm just kind of... let's see. And I'm just gonna make sure that I get like around the door, because when I put the brown, I want it to kind of stand out a little bit. All right, that looks good. thank you guys. You're still here with me. I thought I might have lost you by now. All right, so now we're going to do the brown. And I'm going to do the windows. And the door. I think I have one more window. Yep. All right, so see how that is like totally coming together now? All right. So, and what I do with my roof is I usually do the burgundy, this red that I just got. And then I do the flowers a different color. So I'm just going to take my my heat gun here, and I'm just going to kind of try to get it a little bit more touch dry. There's still like a few spots that are kind of a little sticky wet. So I would like to finish this so you can see the finished look. Because the top doesn't take too long. All right. Because I basically use like just two colors on my roof. I do the burgundy, and then I do the stars in like a sparkly, like a blue or whatever color, you know, you want, really. And so, I mean, it's basically just really dry brushing. That's kind of all I do on the roof, because there's not, you know, a whole ton that has to be done on the roof. And I have a few spots where I'm picking up a little bit of the black. That's totally okay. We'll just wipe it on a paper towel and we'll keep going. Guys, I could sit and do these all day long. These are so, to me, they're so relaxing to do. And they come out so different each time. So yeah, I appreciate you guys sticking with me here. I know it was a last minute decision on my part. But I was like, I got to get these done, so why not do it on a live? So everybody can kind of see, you know, especially if any of you are new and just saw the Powertex, my piece on the live I did today with Andy. This way here, you kind of get to see most of the process. I will be doing another live probably Sunday, And I'm gonna try and do a, oh, let me put you up here so you're not even seeing what I'm doing. Sorry, guys. So I'm gonna try and do the one with the candle in it on a glass jar and see if we can get that to come out. And I forget when I'm doing these that I have to keep, oh, I just dislodged one of my pieces, that I have to keep moving my camera, especially like for this because it's so high. Now I am going to take a silver and do the chimney. So I will be grabbing that mica powder here in a second. And I'm gonna put some of this red on my swing seat. All right, so let me, okay. So that is the red. So I'm gonna grab the silver. And we'll do this blue. Usually I do a darker blue, but then I'm also going to, we're gonna put a little bit of this blue glitter over the blue. So I'll start with the silver. We'll get the the antenna. The little chimney piece done. And this is the metallic silver by Let's Resin. This is the metallic one. And stick her back down there. So now we have a silver chimney. Okay. So the only thing with this is it's definitely a messy project. There's no to get, oh, and this is a blue that I've never used either. My goodness. We're using all kinds of new colors tonight. And blue is my favorite color, so I don't understand why I've never used this blue. And we're just going to do our stars. And they are still a little wet underneath, but that's okay. And that's why I like to have the bottom and the bottom of this dry when I get ready to start, because then you can continue finishing your piece even if it is still wet, like underneath the stars and stuff. As long as they stay on. Let's see. I know I have some on the very top. Okay, so the stars are done. So let's get a little bit of sparkles. I'm not even gonna wash my brush. I'm just gonna wipe it off, and I'm gonna stick it in the glitter. And I'm gonna kind of give like a little, just enough so some of the glitter sticks. And so I mean, you could probably even use the sparkle dust to give, you know, a little bit of a sparkle to this. And then what I like to do is whatever's left in my brush, I just kind of like give that extra little sparkle like throughout. So when the kids look at it, I tell them, I say, oh, look, there's fairy dust on the house. So the fairy must have been here last night. And the little kids' eyes just light up. And I always put some fairy dust on the swing seat. Always. And it doesn't have to be a lot. It's just so that they can see that, oh, there's sparkle. The little fairy was there, you know. And I even like very lightly just put a little bit around the bottom. Kind of, you know, because we all know glitter will last forever. So whatever's in that brush, I just kind of like brush it around. And yeah. So let me see if I can stand this up and kind of hold it back so you guys can see the finished product. So that's, well, I'll come in close so you can see the bottom. So this is the bottom. And then this is our top. Trying to get it so you can see it all. So we have our little chimney, we have our little swing, and then we have our stars. And thanks, guys. So that is the finished piece. And I will take some pictures and put it in my post area. And then again, this is the door. And again, this is made with a piece of wire, tin foil, and fabric. I made these with mix to mold. Thank you guys so much. I made this with mix to mold, and I made the leaves. So tomorrow, I'm probably going to be doing a mix to mold, getting some more pieces ready. I did order another mold for the hinges because there are two different styles. There's this style, and then there's this style. So I only had two of these done, so that's what I used. But these are the molds that I use for the leaves. And I do have some little flower molds coming. So trying, you know, like to be able to have product all the time instead of buying my little paper ones. which, you know, like I'm already out of wherever I put those. If I can make my own, right here, you know, these paper ones, I mean, I can't remember what I paid, but I know it had to have been like $5 to $8 for 24, and I got 4 left. So I figured if I make my own and mix to mold, that's okay. Let me see here. That's totally fine, Renee. You can always watch the replay, not a big deal. So I figured the more things that I can make and like get ahead on, then when I get ready to make these pieces, I have everything that I need. So yeah, this has been my new obsession. So this is the one from today. And then this is the one that I made the other day. So you can see they're similar, but yet they're so different. Like on this one, I put some dirt on the rocks. And then on this one, I didn't. And I didn't put rocks around the door. I just left it plain. So they're all like, you know, a little bit different. Like this swing is longer than this one. Oh, well, thank you so much. I'm glad you liked it. So yeah, it's, you know, it's just a different, like on this one, I put more like vines going up on the roof. Whereas on this one, I kind of left this one more just roof color. So, yeah, it's, and then I was thinking, because remember these stupid little mirror things? I'm like, oh, maybe I could put these in the windows, you know, to kind of give like a reflection. Yes, I do have a Cricut machine. Right now, I can't get to it, so that's one of my reasons why I'm trying to get my rooms upstairs reorganized, because then I'm going to, yes, I did get my molds on Amazon, Terry. I'm going to move my Cricut, and I have the big venture, and I'm going to move that into my office upstairs. So that way I can use it, because down here, I have no room. I'm like, my room is a disaster. But yeah, I'm pleased at how this came out. So I will let you know how this works. The hanging thing seems to be really good. I just don't know, like weight-wise, if it's going to kind of hang to one side. So I'm not sure on that. But I've been wanting to put something that's attached to hang it. So I will see how that works. Oh, that's a good idea. Yes, I never even thought of that, cutting them out of cardboard. Or even paper for all that matter. Yeah. So, I mean, there's just so many things to do. Oh, you know what I did? I had a bird. I didn't even put the bird. Oh, crud. Hang on. We got to put the bird. I wanted to put a bird. Oh, I wanted to put a bird on my little house. So let's, and luckily I still got some black. A black cat on the top would be cool. Yes. Let me throw a glove on. And so with the mix to mold, it is a perfect medium. That's why I'm downstairs. I mean, I have a separate table on the other side, guys, that my clear matte thing is like black. It's disgusting looking. So I try to always keep a clean one. So when I do a live, I'm starting out with somewhat of a clean base. But yeah. All right. So what I'm doing right now is I'm just taking, this is a little bird I made in mix to mold. And I'm just covering him in the Powertex solution. And then I'm going to stick him right there. And then once he dries, oh, hang on. So I stuck him right here. And then when he dries, then I'll just paint him like a bird color. But yeah, so we have a little bird on our little roof. I had him sitting there and I'm like, oh crap, I forgot to put my bird. I'm glad you guys said about the cat because it made me think of the bird. So yeah, we'll just let him dry and then we'll color him up. I might even do like a, I don't know, like a yellow or bird or whatever so he'll show up. But yeah. Alrighty guys, I have kept you guys here long enough. Thank you so much for joining me tonight. I so appreciate it. And I will try to have a video out for tomorrow night. It might be a quick one because I do have a lot going on this week. I'm trying to get things situated so then I can get back to just doing my videos. So yeah, hopefully there will be a video. If not, there will definitely be one the next day. So I will see you guys later. Thanks for hanging with me. I so appreciate it. Bye, guys. Oh, let me see here. I have it on screen share, so I have to, is it gonna let me do that? No. All right. There we go. I had it mirrored to my TV so that I can see, and it won't let me hang up if I don't disconnect. So that's what I was doing. Alrighty, guys. Bye. Really? Now it's not going to let me disconnect. Oh, my goodness gracious, guys. It's not going to let me disconnect. You too, guys. I will see you later.